This is an analysis from Alpha Business Media. Welcome back to the deep dive.
Today, we're looking at something fascinating. It's not just about tourism. It's really about market structure, governance, and how you can build a scalable, high-value economy from something as personal as a family homestay.
Exactly. We've been digging into sources on rural tourism development and specifically looking at Nepal's homestay sector. And there's this core tension right at the heart of it.
Which is?
How do you scale an authentic cultural experience without, destroying the very thing that makes it valuable in the first place?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, picture the target traveler here. Maybe an investment banker from Singapore, a tech exec from Berlin.
Right.
They're looking for something real, something immersive. They want the Misty Island Hills, a meal with the Limbu family. That pull is incredibly powerful.
But then reality hits.
And it hits hard. That desire immediately runs into a wall of very practical questions. Will my booking actually be honored? Is the bathroom going to be clean? Is there hot water? And that collision right there, that's the paradox, holding this entire rural economy back. It's not really a tension between authenticity and comfort.
No, because these travelers are often fine with simple as long as it's reliable.
Exactly. The core issue is the traveler's perceived risk versus the verifiable trust that the market can, or in this case can't, provide.
So what we have now is what the sources call a lottery.
It is a lottery. It's completely fractured. You've got thousands of these individual, isolated, sort of mom-and-pop businesses.
Which creates a classic market failure.
A textbook case of information asymmetry. The host, the seller, knows the real quality, but you, the buyer, you have no reliable signal to trust that quality before you book. You're just rolling the dice.
So our mission for this deep dive is to really analyze a strategic framework and something like a franchise model that's designed to solve exactly that trust deficit. We want to explore how you can turn this collection of charming but economically inefficient islands into a predictable, high-value network.
Yeah.
So let's start with the money. What's the actual cost of this mistrust?
Okay, so we have to understand the economic cost of all this fragmentation. A homestay is, by its nature, a variable product.
It depends on the host's mood, the cooking that day,
The cleanliness of a shared space, their soft skills. And because it's so variable, the perceived risk for a consumer is immense.
and the sources put a number on this, which they call the price-suppressing delta. I think this is a critical concept.
It's absolutely central. Think about it like this. A high-yield traveler, they're happy to spend, say, $150 a night on a predictable 4-star hotel in Pokhara. No problem.
Because they know what they're getting.
They know exactly what they're getting. But for an unknown village homestay, even if the cultural experience is far richer, they might only risk $30, maybe $40.
So that $110, $120 difference, that's not just random.
Not at all. That delta is the monetary value of predictability. It's the price of trust. And the rural community is leaving that entire premium on the table because they can't signal their quality.
And this feeds into a pretty destructive, vicious cycle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How does the fragmentation stop them from growing?
Well, when you're fragmented, you have zero economies of scale. An individual host in a remote village, they can't afford a professional booking engine. They can't afford targeted Instagram campaigns or, high-end photography to show their place off,
So they have low visibility.
which leads to low occupancy. And that forces them to compete on the one thing they can control, price. They drop their prices, sacrificing quality, and at the end of the day, there is just no surplus capital left over.
So no money for that better mattress or for a reliable solar hot water system.
Precisely.
It sounds like a system that's meant to alleviate poverty is being kneecapped from the start because the market structure just can't support the professional overhead you need to appeal to an international audience.
That is the core conclusion of the analysis. The market has simply failed to build the infrastructure of trust needed to connect these high-value buyers with these high-potential sellers.
Okay, so if the problem is fragmentation and a lack of trust, the solution has to involve some kind of standardization. But the moment you say franchise, people get nervous. They think of, the McDonaldization of culture.
And that's a fair concern, but we have to be really clear. This is not about creating identical, soulless replicas. It's more of a shared services platform.
A platform that separates the two things.
Exactly. It separates the product, which is the trust infrastructure, from the experience, which is the culture. You're standardizing the traveler's confidence, not the host's hospitality.
All right, let's break that down. Let's start with layer one of this framework, the standardized hard product. What are the absolute non-negotiables?
These are the things that signal professionalism no matter where you are. A successful network has to mandate standards for core hygiene and comfort. First up, bedding and linen.
What about them?
They must be high quality, comfortable, and crucially professionally laundered. We're talking basic hotel-grade standards here.
And then the big one. The one that can make or break a trip for an international traveler. The bathroom.
Absolutely essential. The bathrooms have to be impeccably clean, maintained, with reliable, consistent hot water. And, this is critical, a functioning Western-style toilet.
These aren't cultural items.
No, they're operational standards that just eliminate traveler anxiety. If you can't guarantee sanitation, you simply can't charge a premium. Period.
And the third piece of that hard product, the digital backbone.
Reliable Wi-Fi. It's mandatory now.
Yeah.
And a single, unified, secure system for payments and bookings. Getting these things right doesn't make a Tamang homestay the same as a Tharo one. It just means you, the guest, can rest and transact with confidence.
Okay, that makes sense. That brings us to layer 2, the centralized soft service layer. This is the business engine part.
This is where the central platform really proves its worth. It does all the things an individual host can't. First and foremost, it builds a powerful, unified brand that signals quality all over the world.
And it handles all the marketing.
All of it. Centralized digital marketing, managing all the listings on the global travel sites, running those sophisticated social media campaigns.
And what I imagine is the most crucial part for trust, quality assurance.
It is non-negotiable. This layer has to manage a program of regular, unannounced quality audits across the whole network. The platform takes on this huge administrative, burden tech, marketing, quality control.
And by doing that, it frees up the host,
It completely lifts that weight off their shoulders.
which lets them focus on layer 3, the hyper-local experience product. This is why the traveler came in the first place, and it stays totally unique.
Exactly. The host is no longer stressing about the Wi-Fi or the audit. They can focus purely on what they do best. Hospitality, the local recipes for dalpat, the stories they tell, the guided walks through the village teaching a local craft. The platform's job is just to protect that authentic core by making it economically viable.
But this is where the model, the governance of it all, becomes so important. A typical corporate franchise would just extract all that value. The sources say that model is doomed to fail here.
And they're right. It would just siphon wealth out of the very communities that are creating it. Which brings us to the most viable structure, the platform cooperative.
A platform cooperative.
Okay, it's a totally different approach. And the blueprint for it comes from India's biggest cooperative success story, Amul.
Amul, the dairy cooperative.
Okay.
So how does that mechanism translate to hospitality? I'm curious about the ownership.
Okay, so Amul is owned by millions of individual dairy farmers. They are the suppliers. The central Amul entity, which they all co-own, handles everything after the milk is produced. Processing, quality control, branding, logistics, marketing.
So the farmers just have to focus on producing good milk.
Right. And the co-op they own gets it to market under a trusted brand, getting them the best price. The profits then flow back to the member owners.
So if we apply that to tourism, you'd have a Nepal Homestay Federation or something similar.
Exactly. Structured as a social enterprise. The individual homestay owners are the dairy farmers. They produce the hospitality. The central federation provides the Amul services, the brand, the tech, the quality control, the global marketing.
The incentives seem perfectly aligned in that model. The central body isn't there to make shareholders rich. It's there to make the members more profitable.
Yes. The commission it takes just funds the central operations, and any surplus gets reinvested or distributed back to the owners in the villages.
That's a huge deal. It means the value created in the villages stays in the villages. It empowers entrepreneurs instead of, exploiting them.
And it's a very different path from, say, the highly centralized model in Bhutan, which is great for preservation but doesn't create as much local entrepreneurial wealth.
Okay, let's look ahead. Strategically, it seems like there are two very clear paths for Nepal's rural tourism. Scenario A is just the status quo.
The sources call it organic but anemic growth. The sector stays fragmented, untrusted. High-yield tourists just keep bypassing the rural areas. The economic impact is marginal.
And policymakers just keep offering small, ineffective grants for construction.
Right. They're throwing capital at the wrong problem.
Then there's scenario B, the platform play. This strategic, coordinated effort to build the Amul for homestays. And if we go down this path, we have to know where the real bottleneck is.
And the sources are crystal clear on this. The primary bottleneck to scaling isn't a lack of capital for buildings. It's not bricks and mortar. It is human capital.
So the biggest investment opportunity isn't building more homestays, it's building a scalable training and management platform to professionalize the people.
Exactly right. That platform needs to develop a curriculum. It needs to train a core of regional managers, the people doing quality audits, who can then go out and consistently upskill the local hosts.
On everything from digital literacy to guest relations and hygiene.
That's the human infrastructure you need to guarantee those hard product standards across thousands of different locations.
Which would require a complete policy pivot from an organization like the Nepal Tourism Board.
A total pivot. They need to shift subsidies away from those inefficient construction grants and instead fund the human infrastructure, the training, the quality assurance side of these aggregator platforms.
The government's role isn't to run homestays.
No. Their role is to create the regulatory environment where these quality assuring aggregators can actually thrive. Maybe create a new license for them, legitimize what they do.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean? For you as a traveler and for the local economy, the analysis seems to confirm that professionalizing the sector is the only way forward. You have to standardize trust.
You do, because that's what allows a high-value traveler to confidently pay a premium for the authentic experience they're looking for without gambling on the basics.
This seems like a win-win.
It is, but it comes with a final hard truth, something for you to consider. The romantic idea of the pure, untouched mom-and-pop homestay that really only appeals to the low-yield backpacker market.
And for real, meaningful economic development that can lift entire communities.
For that, the sector has to let go of some of that romanticism. It has to fully embrace the shared brands, the central booking engines, the guaranteed hygiene, all the boring infrastructure required to build confidence for the high-yield global traveler. That's the real path to scale.